WrestleMania 41 is in the books, and it was certainly a unique event. There were definitely highs and lows, so let's go over them with our reviewers of Night 1 and 2 of WrestleMania 41. Please be warned, we will be talking about the results, so if you haven't watched the full event yet, you might want to end the video. The event opens with Jey Uso taking on Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship. Personally, not the result I wanted. I was hoping to see Gunther steamroll Jey in a Lesnar-style squash. They made Jey seem like a badass in this match, which I do think is needed if they want us to take him seriously, as that sort of like strong babyface. But for me personally, it just didn't come across as much of the underdog as he had in the promos. There was just a bit too much of a gap. I do think Gunther tapping out to his own move wasn't a great idea. I understand what they were going for, it just didn't quite come off to me that well. It just kind of made Gunther look a little bit weak. But all that being said, I am down to see what Jey can do with the title. I'm always happy to see some fresh blood at the top of the card. I just hope we don't see a Kofi Kingston style reign. And speaking of Kofi Kingston, next up we had the War Raiders defending the tag team titles against the New Day in a solid match. The Clash of Clans War Raiders costumes didn't look the best, to say the least, but we'll move on from that. I kind of hope for more from this match. Given the time and the ability of these four men, you just know they could steal the show if given the chance. But it certainly wasn't a bad match. It kind of had that really good Raw main event feel to it by the end of it, which definitely isn't bad. I'm personally happy to see the New Day win the belts back, but I do think they're the best tag team in the division. It'd be good to see some fresh matchups with a new heel New Day. I just don't really know where we go from here because SmackDown's tag division does seem a little bit better. Raw's is a little lacking in my opinion. After this, we had Jade Cargill versus Naomi in a match. I'm not really sure why it was on Mania over both women's mid-card titles and the SmackDown tag team titles. I thought it was pretty obvious Jade was going to win this one. No chance they would have her lose her first singles Mania match. This wasn't a bad match. It wasn't a good match either. It just was a match. And then what was easily the best match of the night so far, Jacob Fatu became the new United States champion with his win over LA Knight. This match was honestly a lot better than I expected, and it was so needed after a few average matches to kick the event off. Lots of moments in this, including a moonsault into BFT, which just looked amazing. LA Knight played the cool babyface so well, while Jacob Fatu played the monster heel, and these guys put on such a great match. Easily one of the best matches of the entire weekend. We followed this with El Grande Americano versus Rey Fenix, who replaced an injured Rey Mysterio. Two really solid wrestlers who had a really solid match. You know both men are capable of more, and it seemed like they have some sort of chemistry together, but 8 minutes just isn't long enough to have a stellar match like these guys can do. It'll be interesting to see where this goes, because as much as I hate the El Grande stuff, I love the steel plate in the mask. What a great way for a masked wrestler to win. And then one of the most controversial matches going into WrestleMania, Charlotte Flair versus Tiffany Stratton for the Women's World title. And I kind of expected this match to just fall apart, with loads of like communication breakdowns and sandbagging, and thankfully that didn't happen. There did seem to be a few little communication breakdowns at time, but they sort of, styled over them, and this match quickly ends up on the outside of the ladies brawling, the crowd very much behind Tiffany, which turned into a really good, fun wrestling match. I think this really helps show that Tiffany can hang at the top, as well as letting her show a mean, vicious streak by targeting Charlotte's knee throughout the match, and definitely showed she will be in the women's main event scene for a very long time. For a near 20-minute match, this really didn't feel like it, and this was a great rewatch for this review, and in my opinion, the best result possible with Tiffany defeating Charlotte. And then final match of night one we had, I think the match that everyone expected to be the best match of the night, and that was Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns versus CM Punk. All three men came out looking like the huge stars they are, and this definitely had that big WrestleMania main event feeling. All three men got their chance to shine, and each mini feud between the wrestlers got its time in the spotlight. Paul Heyman did what Paul Heyman does best and really helped sell the story of this match. This had everything: fighting outside, through the crowd, table spots, multiple finishes, and then the plot twist at the end, with Heyman betraying both Reigns and Punk to align with Rollins. I'm not sure where this goes from here with Seth Rollins, because he doesn't really need to be paired with Paul Heyman, but it is also a very unique pairing, so I'm looking forward to what could be. We then move on to night 2, which kicked off with the phenomenal women's triple threat match between Io Sky, Rhea Ripley, and Bianca Belair. Considering how burnt out I am on Rhea and Belair, and how terrible the storyline this has been, in my opinion, these three women put on arguably the greatest match of the weekend. Other than the Punk Roman Rollins match, I cannot praise this enough. It's definitely my personal favourite from the weekend, and in my opinion, Io Sky retaining the title is the exact result that was needed. This was such a fast-paced, high-action match, with each of the women getting a chance to shine. Io being the quote-unquote underdog was played so well here, and they integrated the triple threat setup so well. I cannot recommend watching this enough. We then got a Sin City street fight between the towering Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest. This was exactly the kind of hard-hitting affair you would hope for between these two brutes. The brawling starts immediately, instantly leaving the ring and getting into the carnage, starting with tables and the steel steps coming into play. The Claymore into the steel chair in the corner was such a great finish that made Damian just look like a monster to beat. This was just a really fun but different kind of match to follow the tremendous opening contest. Then it was Intercontinental Championship time as the fatal four-way between Bron Breakker, Penta, Dominic Mysterio and Finn Balor kicks off. All four men had their working boots on for this one, and each man played their character and role so good. I fully expected this match to be good, and it didn't disappoint. Each man had a really good showing, with some great spots in the match, and hearing Dom being cheered by the crowd was a wild feeling. And the pop when he won the title was crazy. As much as I wanted Penta to leave as the champion, I'm really looking forward to seeing what Dom can do as IC champion, especially if he, ties into that whole being the cheating chicken shit heel. Just another great match for night 2, 3 for 3 so far. Sadly, this is where things sort of take a bit of a turn. Next up, it's Randy Orton's Open Challenge, which is answered by TNA World Champion Joe Hendry, who gets a huge pop, and then beaten in 3 minutes. Yeah, 3 minutes. I'm glad Hendry got his Mania match, but considering the 15 plus minute wait times between matches, could we not have given this 8 minutes at least? Let TNA's champ look kind of strong? I guess not. Then it was time for AJ Styles versus Logan Paul in a match that, as much as I hate Logan Paul, you can't deny he's a very good wrestler. And AJ Styles is one of my all-time favourites and an all-time just phenomenal worker. So I thought this would be one of the best matches of the entire weekend, and I was so wrong. This just kind of was another match, and then Logan won after Karrion Kross appeared and tried to get AJ to cheat. Probably the most disappointing match of the entire show. Then it was time for the women's tag team titles, in which was probably the worst kept secret as to who the mystery partner was, after WWE showed Becky Lynch countless times during the Hall of Fame. Lyra Valkyria would become a double champ alongside Lynch after beating Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. Thought this was a good match. It's nice to see Lyra getting the recognition she deserves, being a great wrestler. There was no way Becky was going to lose this one, so the ending was very obvious, but it didn't take away from the match at all. And then finally, the match I was personally looking forward to the most. Cody Rhodes versus John Cena. And it kind of shit the bed. Watching the heel John Cena show a mean streak and throw around big boots and stuff was great, and this definitely had that big fight feel at the start, but it just became another match, and the ending, in my opinion, was one of the worst in WrestleMania history. Putting emphasis on the rapper whose name I don't even remember, even though he did take a bump, it kind of just screams that wrestling is secondary, especially in the biggest match of the weekend. Having Cena win the title is what I predicted and wanted, and I stand by my statement that a heel Cena having a title run for his last few months could be great, but the ending to this was just so abrupt and poor. I think if this match had a better ending, more people, myself included, would have a better overall opinion of it. Now, I saw someone online describe WWE turning WrestleMania Night 1 into the UFC prelims, and I can't help but agree now. So much of this weekend felt poor, or just like a really solid Raw, as opposed to a WrestleMania. That being said, the good matches aren't just good, they're tremendous and worth watching. But do they make up for the rest of the show? I'm honestly not sure. Night 1 started poorly, and got better towards the end. And shockingly, Night 2 did the opposite. Started amazing and then kind of just dived off a cliff. Was this the worst WrestleMania? Absolutely not. Was it a good WrestleMania? I don't know. It had some really great matches, but there was something missing. But at the end of the weekend, it's still WrestleMania, and even if they put on the worst show possible, I'm still going to stay up all night to watch it live. So I really hope you have enjoyed this review. If you have, let us know your review of WrestleMania in the comments below. We have memberships, so if you want to become a member to support the channel, you can for as cheap as $1 a month. Helps us tremendously, helps us pump out more videos like this, as well as our TW series, the podcast, other reviews, all sorts. So any support you want to give us is greatly appreciated. Again, let us know your review, let us know what your favourite match of the night was, anything about wrestling, let's just get talking about wrestling because we all love it. And hopefully, we'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.